Amro Albano. And if you were watching the All Access show we did last Friday, you saw Amro. He is the CEO and co-founder of Aditxt Therapeutics. There it is on the screen, Amro. Long time no speak. How are we doing this week?
Good, Spencer. How are you? Good to see you again.
Dude, the same as I was last Friday. So,
Good.
One of those things. Anyway, okay, we have your slides, I think. Guys, we do. There we do. Amro, the floor is yours.
All right. Spencer, it was really interesting to even hear the last couple of minutes of the prior company's presentation. I mean, it's all about, right now, the focus is about COVID, right? And it really begins with my slide. COVID happened in 2020, early 2020, COVID happened. And since then, it's been really the conversation nationally and globally. It's been about COVID. But what it really did, it put the immune system right smack in the middle of the conversation. People now understand that our immune system directly impacts our health and our overall well-being. So early 2020, when COVID just started, as you know, the focus was on infection status and infection control, PCR testing, and understandably so, because it happened quickly. We were not prepared as a society, and the focus became on how we can minimize infection by controlling infection, separating people, asking people to wear masks, asking people to work remotely, and every measure that you know of. And during that time, we actually said, we were on the record and we said, when vaccines become available, the focus is going to transition from infection status to immune status. Because if we are going to move forward and reopen the economy, which is the theme of this conference, we have to begin looking at individual immune status to make better decisions, informed decision of what activities we can and cannot do. So sure enough, vaccines became available, and unfortunately things are not back to quote unquote normal. Now you're hearing about people that are not vaccinated and wondering whether or not they developed immune response to COVID or some sort of level of immunity against COVID because of natural exposure. Those that received one exposure vaccine like J&J are wondering whether or not they need a second one. And those of us that got the two, Moderna or Pfizer, are now wondering whether or not they need a booster shot. And we all heard about from CDC and the FDA yesterday that they're going to move forward with the booster shot starting September 20th. And so far, we've been taking a population approach to this pandemic. And reality is we must take an individual approach to this pandemic by understanding each one's immune response, immune profile when it comes to COVID, so they and their physician can make that decision. And this is really where Aditxt comes in. We are all about that immune system. We have two segments, one on the therapeutic side, developing new class of therapeutics to retrain the immune system, where we could potentially address autoimmunity, organ rejection, and allergies. And the first segment or the second segment is monitoring the immune system. And it's a way to understand someone's immune profile by processing a sample such as blood or saliva or other samples. So to begin with the Aditxtscore, to begin with the immune monitoring segment, we've been talking about health or precision health for the last couple of decades. 20 years we've been talking about precision health. And we truly believe you cannot begin talking about precision health without having the ability to profile someone's immune system. Certainly when it comes to immunotherapies, you really do need a tool and a technology to map someone's immune system so you have better understanding of their immune profile. This is where Aditxtscore comes in. It's a technology platform already operational, designed to provide meaningful immune status, meaningful immune profile for a specific application. It is a technology that started by us partnering with Stanford University and licensing an IP for the technology. And beyond that, we started developing and adding to that technology. Going back and using COVID-19 as an example, because it just could not be a better example nowadays when it comes to infectious diseases, which is COVID. I already shared with you the various questions that everybody has in mind, especially now employers. how do they move forward dealing with their employees? Do they force employees to get a booster shot? Do they force employees to get that second shot? I mean, there are a lot of questions right now and certainly a lot of confusion. And we have to take a different approach than that population health approach, which is really based on individual immune status. So how do we do it? We collect a sample. Right now, it's a blood sample that we collect. We bring it in-house in our Aditxtscore operational center out of Richmond, Virginia. This is not an off-the-shelf kit. This is a lab-developed test that our team of technicians and experts process internally. And we go back and we send what we call an Aditx report, an Aditxtscore report outlining your immune profile for COVID-19, at least as the initial application. To give you an example of the details that we provide and we analyze, this is not an antibody test that just does true or false, positive or negative. We actually process with high sensitivity and high precision 9 different analytes initially. So there are 3 different antibodies against 3 different antigens. That's what gives us the high specificity that you're seeing on the screen and the high sensitivity, just to get a better picture of the antibodies that are related to COVID-19 as well as the antigens that are related to COVID-19. In addition to that, we process neutralizing antibodies, which is really what matters when it comes to defending against COVID-19. It's what neutralizes the virus. And moving and beyond that, and we don't have this application yet, but we will be adding that feature in the near term, cellular immunity. Because at some point, our immune response will transition from antibodies and neutralizing antibodies to cellular immunity, which is our ability, our immune system's ability to remember that specific virus so it can respond to it in the future. And that's Aditxtscore when it comes to COVID-19. So to give you an idea, what the consumer and what the individual and their physician would get, these are 3 sample reports. One report of, as an example, of someone who had no exposure. They were not exposed to COVID. They did not get vaccination. And you can see they have no exposure and you can see the numbers. This is, again, not true or false. Our numbers range from 0 to 216,000 units. All that means is pretty high precision when it comes to profiling the immune system. The one in the middle is natural exposure. This is someone that actually got developed immune response against COVID because they were exposed to the actual virus. And vaccine induced, though this is from an individual that developed immune response because they were vaccinated. So as we all know, a great innovation and great timing is not enough to launch successfully. In the last 12 months, we've been putting together a team of experts to lead Aditxtscore. They understand labs, they understand regulatory, they understand insurance. We went and we validated almost a year ago with Stanford Blood Center, our technology, and we set up the operation. We announced 30 days ago, our Aditxtscore Center is up and running in Richmond, Virginia. We worked on regulations, and it's important to outline, we fall under CLIA and CAB jurisdiction because we are a lab-developed test. We process the test. This is not a kit that we sell. Then we worked on our reimbursement strategy from private insurance to understand what CPT codes and reimbursement codes we can provide our customers and our channel partners to get reimbursed. We are then, now we're starting to work on Medicare insurance. We plan to apply for Medicare insurance. And we're currently working on securing channel partners to make sure that we provide access to Aditxtscore centers to the market through labs, CLIA labs, employers, and similar organizations. So again, we've been really focusing on securing channel partners. Some of them are shown here on the presentation. Some of them we announced already, and we are continuing to work on increasing our network of channel partners that will carry Aditxtscore. It's important to mention, while we're starting with COVID-19 for obvious reason, Aditxtscore as a platform can apply to multiple areas in the immune system, because it all goes back to the ability to analyze multiple analytes, identify and quantify multiple analytes with high precision and high sensitivity. So an application that we are working currently on is type 1 diabetes. Imagine if newly born children get Aditxtscore for type 1 diabetes, where we can predict susceptibility of type 1 diabetes in a newly born child. So just want to leave everyone with the understanding that Aditxtscore, while we're now launching it for COVID-19, it's a platform, it's a technology platform that can apply in multiple areas when it comes to profiling the immune system. So with that, I will switch now to the therapeutic side. There are 3 areas in therapeutics that have been a major challenge. Organ rejection, autoimmune diseases, which includes dermatology and allergies. All 3 fields are generally caused by the fact that our immune system overreacts. So when someone receives a transplanted organ, our immune system will do its job and it will recognize it's a foreign organ. It will begin to reject it. Autoimmune diseases like psoriasis or type 1 diabetes or MS, they're caused by the fact that somehow our immune system is rejecting our own tissues, not foreign tissues. And allergies, same concept, except our immune system is overreacting to an external substance, an allergen, or even, food, for example, and it's overreacting. And the general approach, again, is been, suppressing the immune system. And suppressing the immune system, as you can imagine, logically speaking, while it may work, and provides a little bit of benefits, unfortunately, it exposes the immune system to other situations that are undesired. So there is an approach called immune tolerance that's been studied and been researched. And that approach is, can we selectively Can we retrain the immune system to make it accept specific cells and tissues? The question is, can the research, and it's actually shown to be achievable in research settings, but can the research, the holy grail of this field is, can the research be made into a product? Will it require additional hospitalization? And is it simple to produce and ship? Our technology, ADI, Apoptotic DNA, that's exactly what we're working on. It's a technology. We're in preclinic right now, and it is a way to get the immune system to listen to a signal to initiate the retraining, and another component that will tell it which specific tissue we want it to accept. Significant patent portfolio. We have almost 100 issued patents right now in the US and abroad. And we have, just like with Aditxtscore, we put together a world-class team that understands IP, that understands commercialization, understands regulatory work, manufacturing, and all the way to bringing an innovation from a great idea to commercializable product. We're currently preclinical stage. We've done 4 preclinical studies, one in skin allograft, type 1 diabetes, psoriasis, alopecia. And we just recently announced that we started our preclinical work in multiple sclerosis. So the inflection point for therapeutics is this. Second half of 2022, we're looking to begin our clinical trials in psoriasis, type 1 diabetes, and skin allograft. And we will continue working on MS to advance the preclinical studies to see what it leads to, and if we could actually push it further into clinical trials along the 3 above. Our team, without going into the resumes, we are a team of business people, science people, engineering, IT, and it's important to really describe the DNA, no pun intended, of Aditxt. We are not a single molecule company. We have multiple innovations focused on retraining the immune system and monitoring and profiling the immune system. Our board members come from various industries, which makes it really capable of helping in guiding the company. We have, for example, Namvar, who's one of the executives at Abbott Labs, Dr. Rungi, who was the first chief medical officer appointed to Homeland Security. We have Lauren, who comes from industry and banking, Laura from the securities world, and Brian from the finance world. So to summarize, we are a young company. I believe our valuation right now is pretty attractive. That's mostly due to the fact that nobody knows about our work. Our focus right now is to transition Aditxtscore from pre-revenue to revenue by end of the year and get it commercialized, get it out in the marketplace. And when it comes to therapeutics, our focus is to transition from preclinical to clinical by second half of 2022. Thank you very much, Spencer, for the time, and happy to take any questions.
Hey, Amro. One question here. I'm going to read it from the chat. Are you currently working with, or do you have plans to work with companies and government on some sort of a vaccine passport? If so, what kind of data would the company provide?
So, right now, the way we look at it, Aditxtscore is really focused on immune response, whether that immune response is developed by vaccines or natural immunity, or even a combination. Like an example, like myself, I'm an example, someone who had COVID and someone who also got vaccinated. Our report currently goes to the individual and their physician. It basically goes to the channel partner, be it a hospital or be it a CLIA lab. So those are our current plans. We hear a lot of chatter right now, and a lot of efforts are going into developing different passports. That is not our core business, but look, our Aditxtscore, digitally speaking, can be incorporated in various wallets, but that's ultimately going to be up to the consumer to make that decision, whether or not they want their Aditxtscore to be incorporated into a wallet.
Got it. Amro Abana is the co-founder and CEO of Aditxt. Amro, just any final thoughts for us before we wrap it up?
It's really interesting timing, Spencer. COVID-19 is a major challenge, to state the obvious. It's not only a national challenge, it's a global challenge. And a young company like us, we believe we have certainly one of the keys to reopening the economy by focusing on individual immune status, to help individuals make their own decisions, to help employers create policies that are based on science and based on individual status, not based on population type approach.
All right, Amro, thanks a lot, man, for coming on. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Spencer.